Welcome to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever seen a horse who could talk? With your host, Louisa Barton, who really wants to be a famous rider. She really loves to ride fast. Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care.
Truth is, I have horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Enjoy the show.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Mr. Richard Larson, a man of great integrity, cares about every single bale of hay and about taking care of his customers. He also has a huge heart for those genuinely in need. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And if you wonder why I'm chuckling, it's because I was doing an American accent before the show started. Please subscribe on YouTube if you want to hear that.
Oh, were we live?
I'm quite sure Isaac was recording that.
Oh, great.
Yes, I'm quite positive of that. We're going to start off with a wonderful lineup for the show. We have Dr. Adam Cayot. He's going to be talking about heaves in horses. If you've experienced that, it's no fun at all. We also have a segment with Megan Vainosky from MV Equestrian, starting horses over jumps.
Happy horse, happy life.
Happy life. This
Linda
is the
Parelli.
one where Pete cries, bless him,
over
Linda Parelli. And then me, I'm going to talk about how you can make grass grow in barren deserts. Believe me, I've done it. We air on Equus TV all week. We also air on Saturday morning on 97.3 The Sky. Woo-hoo. And also on Odyssey.com worldwide, and a million other podcasts that we hardly even know about, but people love them. So.
We like our audience.
We do. We want to make sure we're everywhere we can possibly be so you can hear. So we're going to talk about some events, first of all. This one's going to be fun.
January 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th of 2025.
Just around the corner.
That's right. Mounted Police Championships.
That's right, at the World Equestrian Center.
And we are celebrity judges.
We are, and media sponsors, and it's free for the public to come and watch police competing.
Come and support our fellow equestrians that protect us as police officers.
That's right. It's going to be a great time. Mounted Police Championships, World Equestrian Center, January 9th to the 12th, 2025. This is fun because our usual equine initiative meeting for our chamber event is open to the public for a change, instead of just to CEP partners, for a $50 donation to Foundation for CEP. And September 19th from 2 to 4 p.m. you can join us at Jambalaya. If you're interested in a tour of this incredible facility, checking out amazing aeroplanes, helicopters, vintage cars, and horses.
But what does this have to do with horses?
Because well, first of all, they own horses.
Okay.
They actually have Gypsy Manners, and she shows all over the country. She has a phenomenal rig and travels. But the Bull family are allowing us to use this venue to fundraise for our equine initiative in Marion County Public Schools, so that we can help cover the costs of some of the horse visits, and so we can cover a coloring book and containing all the equine industry jobs, and also an Equine 101 pamphlet for middle school.
I've been practicing my auctioneer.
Oh, can we hear?
No, ma'am.
Anyway, if you would like to attend and you are not a CEP partner, because you can register at ocalacep.com if you're a partner, but if you are not a partner and want to attend, you can email me at louisa@ocalacep.com, and that is a donation to a 501c3. It is $50 per person, or if you have 4 people who would like to attend, we'll do that for $100. So we are going to have some amazing auction items. We have a Adina Club golf membership.
Oh.
We have a helicopter ride over Ocala. We have some amazing art by 2 really wonderful local artists that are very well known. We have some gift baskets, some hay giveaways, some feed from Seminole. We have all kinds of good things that are going to be absolutely phenomenal. So it's definitely worth coming if you can. And don't forget to reach out, let me know, and RSVP if you would like to join us. Fun stuff, right? TT Distributors, one of our partners, is doing a September giveaway. It is a $25 gift card. You have to like and follow TT Distributors on social media, like and share their post, and tag 3 of your friends in the comments to be entered to win this gift card. So very easy to win $25, right? TT Distributors.
Kylie, Isaac, and you.
That's right. And it's a win. So September giveaway, don't miss that. TT Distributors are on Highway 40, a credible facility with all sorts of everything you need for horses and farriers and everything else. And then they also have a wonderful online ordering service as well for all your horse goodies. So all good stuff. Seminole Feed Stores, talking about good stuff.
September 21st, Customer Appreciation Day.
Yep.
Highway 40 West, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. Bellevue, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. Come out and join us. We're going to have lots of fun stuff, discounts.
Pete will probably be running around in a rodeo clown outfit.
No promises.
They're also going to have a community used tack and equipment sale and tons of store savings. So all kinds of savings off in-store items, 15% off, $2 off Seminole Wellness, $1 off Seminole Feeds, in-store giveaways, vendors will be on site, there'll be some food trucks. It's loads of fun. It is not at the downtown Seminole Feed Store. It's Highway 40 from 8 to 4 and Bellevue from 8 to 3. So just make a note of that date and come see us.
And they really appreciate you coming out because they appreciate what you've done, so now they want to give back.
So this evening,
thinking about giving away.
That's right. It's all just lining up, isn't it? Pete was at something I couldn't go to because my horse's legs swelled up, and I had to miss this. But it was apparently a wonderful, wonderful time at Juniper this evening for Gentle Carousel, who were doing a kickoff for Give for Marion, which is a wonderful, I think 33 hours or so that they do this all for our local charities here. And Gentle Carousel do so much. They get kids up and close with miniature horses in our schools with reading and horses. They do it in the summertime at our covered market area for kids. They accompany the police often visiting schools so that kids can have a good association with law enforcement. They visit rehabs, hospitals, sick and dying adults and children. They are an amazing organization. They're a 501c3, and you can support them with Give for Marion. And the kickoff tonight, Pete, you were there. Sarah was there, and it was wonderful.
Pat Myers was there. There was lots of Sister's Place,
delicious food. And I wish I could have been there for George and Debbie. I love them. But Flynn's legs were big and swollen, so I had to take care of him instead. But I know that was a great kickoff, a wonderful time. And don't forget that Give for Marion is coming right up September 17th and 18th, and it's an online fundraiser.
And the thing about this is when you donate, there's things that happen that businesses match what you donate. So last year they raised $1 million for all the different nonprofits.
That's amazing.
Yes, ma'am.
Incredible. So just Google that, Give for Marion, and you'll find the online fundraiser, and you can help, because we have a lot of 501c3s in Marion County that do amazing, amazing work, and raising that kind of money for all of them is just wonderful. Piranha Family Foundation are doing their 3rd annual Piranha Family Foundation Golf fundraiser, yet another wonderful fundraiser for 3 incredible organizations. What are they, Pete?
Gentle Carousel.
Imagine that.
Imagine that. Canines for Warriors and Heart of Florida Youth Ranch.
And that is on Friday, November 8th, 7 a.m. check-in, 9 a.m. shotgun start, and that is at the Country Club of Ocala. I think there may be space left for 1 or 2 more teams, so check that out. We have got to wrap this segment up and come back with Dr. Adam Cayot, and he's going to be talking about heaves, so stay with us. This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care, our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch. This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference.
Equestrian. It's not just a word but a title. It comes paired with hard work, discipline, and talent. LipChip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Introducing the Hooflink system, powered by LipChip, where a microchip becomes a secure key to unlock temperature, register for your next event, and keep track of required documents. Simply implant, scan, and unlock. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is LipChip.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options, offering prejuvenation for younger clients and rejuvenation for all ages. Nirvana knows you want to look your very best, but we've all seen people with the telltale signs of too much work. We want you to look like you, just better, brighter and younger, with all the newest and best in technology and all in the most beautiful surroundings. Like Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and find them on the web at nirvanamedicalspa.com. Become a better, brighter and younger you. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing, offering great communication, quality fencing, and all done in a timely manner. Reliable service with horse safety in mind all the time. Also offering customized residential, vinyl, wood, aluminium, and chain link fences services. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe. For more information, find Equifence of Florida on Facebook now. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second segment of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms. They're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And here's Dr. Adam Cayot. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show, the CEP's Equine Initiative and Equus Television. I'm here with Dr. Adam Cayot from Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. And we are going to talk about heaves. Heaves are no fun, are they, Dr. Cayot?
No, they're not. So heaves, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. Many humans have COPD. Unfortunately, with our horse friends, we typically can't put them in air-conditioned house and keep them out of the elements. So
unless you're at WEC.
Yeah, unless you're at WEC or you got a real lot of money, and you can build an air-conditioned barn.
That's right.
So I have one client that has that, but that's sweet. So basically COPD is exactly what it says, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. So typically these horses have been exposed to a low level of allergen basically their whole life, and they've had this low grade inflammation in their lungs that goes basically undetected until it doesn't at some point. And at that point, what you notice is this horse a labored breathing, meaning they inhale normally, but they'll get a forced exhale. And if you're just what you'll see the horse standing there is, as you watch them breathe, they'll have to forcibly exhale. So you'll see their sides clench in as they exhale. And a lot of times, they'll actually get what we call a heave line, where the musculature of the diaphragm is noticeable because they're forcibly having to push air out of their lungs. So with that inflammation comes a narrowing of the bronchioles. So you have the whole bronchial tree has been inflamed, and then it becomes narrow. So obviously not as much air can pass through that as should be. And the oxygen exchange is not what it should be. So they end up having to have an increased respiratory rate because their brain's telling them they're not getting enough oxygen. And then it's more labored. So When I get there, I obviously look at the horse and see how the horse is breathing to get an idea. A lot of times these horses will have other allergy issues, like they'll be itchy, they'll be scratching their ears, or they'll scratch their tail, or their mane out, or they have other allergen problems, and a lot of those horses end up with heaves if as they go on in their life. But so if you have an itchy horse, probably on your way to heaves.
That's interesting. I didn't know that connection.
Yeah,
I'm thinking now of those horses that I've
typical.
known, yeah.
So down here in a subtropical climate, it can be really difficult for them because we got a lot of molds and a lot of allergens in the air that you might not have in a northern climate. So it can be more difficult, and obviously the humidity is pretty thick down here, which makes it even more difficult. But when I get there and I look at the horse, the one thing that gives me an idea of how severe this is when I listen to the lungs. A lot of times you'll hear an expiratory wheeze. So you'll hear the air come in, and then you'll hear just a wheeze as they breathe out. And that's just the air passing through the narrow bronchial tree. So that gives me an idea that this has been going on sometime, because actually some horses, they all won't have that expiratory wheeze, but they'll still have the labored breathing. So I'll tell the people, hey, it's COPD. It's not as bad at this point, so that's good. But as it goes on, you'll get to that point. Treatment is we try to minimize their exposure to these allergens. Water down dusty hay, feed hay on the ground. It's
in the bags, the dust is going to come.
Yeah, exactly. And
right.
Or if you feed them up, if you feed them in a hay loft or a hay, feeder on the wall, then all that stuff's falling into their face. Okay.
I'm always a feed on the ground personally, because I think horses.
Well, that's what they're made. That's what they're made to eat. That's the way they're made to eat. So everything does work better on the ground. And then there's a bit of. Some veterinarians say down here it's better to keep them inside. I'm an outside kind of guy.
Because you're going to naturally have dust and mold.
Yeah, you're going to have dust and mold inside. It kind of doesn't matter, honestly, because you have dust and mold in the barn. You have allergens and pollen and everything else outside. So.
Right. It's kind of a catch-22.
Yeah, it doesn't. I don't think it really matters. But anyway, so we try to treat them with steroids plus or minus a bronchodilator. So just like you would any asthmatic, if you yourself are asthmatic or relatives, same thing. Steroids and bronchodilators. The steroids decrease the inflammation that's there. The bronchodilators relax the smooth muscle around the bronchial tree, allowing the bronchial tree to expand so you can get more air into the lungs and have an easier passage. Typically down here, why we're talking about it now is because it tends to rear its head in the summertime.
The warmer months.
And then in the wintertime, you can typically take these horses off the meds and they do just fine. It's frustrating. As it goes on, it can be debilitating, because I've had to put some horses to sleep because of it, because what ends up happening is we can't control it enough. And they end up losing weight. So they're expending more calories just breathing than they're actually able to consume. So they end up losing weight and getting skinny and
getting poor.
And getting poor. And then, you don't want that to happen. So, there's nebulizers, there's, Aeromass, there's all kinds of different ways to treat these guys and to
help them, right? Make them more comfortable, for sure.
Yeah.
And then as far as quality of bedding and hay, really important, getting, if you are keeping the horse inside and blowing the fan at it to keep it cool, which some people choose to do when there's a heave situation. If you are doing that, obviously making sure you're sourcing your bedding and your hay from a really good source. We'll do a shout out for Larson Hay right there, because we do know that is really excellent quality, but that's important. Don't try and cut corners on feed and hay and bedding and things, because you're not feed, rather hay and bedding, because there's dust.
Right.
So you want as dust free as possible.
Yep, as dust free as possible. Minimize those allergens.
Keeping the barn clean on the inside as well, really important. Keeping the dust
clean,
down in the barn.
Keeping the dust down. One of the worst things I think you can do for a heavy horse that's in the barn is get the blower out.
Right.
The blower's the worst, right?
It is. I know, I've seen that.
It's convenient and easy. Not great for your guy.
Turn your horse out for a
Yeah,
bit while you
exactly.
do it until it settles, gives it an hour, and then put the horse back in after, right?
Exactly. So got to think of that stuff, and just try to help them out and be as comfortable as they can.
And obviously being really aware of the situation as far as exercise and riding goes. Obviously, if the horse is super uncomfortable, it's not a good time to ride.
Because these horses also, I'm glad you brought that up. They have a harder time thermoregulating, so it's harder for them to stay cool, because part of a horse breathing or their cooling apparatus is them being able to expel heat through their breath. So when they're having a harder time doing that, then they don't exchange heat as well. So that could be more difficult. And even out just in the paddock, if you have a really hot day, then it probably is beneficial to bring them in or get them out of that sun
to give them some relief.
Because it is harder for them to manage the heat.
Yeah, absolutely, that makes sense. And the misters in the fields are great too if you can do that.
Yep.
Heaves with Dr. Adam Cayot from Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and Equus TV. This portion of the Horse Talk Show is brought to you by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Our television broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay, Idaho's finest alfalfa, and supporting sponsors, DAC Minerals and Vitamins, Seminole Feed Stores, Lip Chip, Piranha, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, and Ocala Dog Ranch.
Faulty wiring is the leading cause of barn fires. I'm Pat with Pat Myers Electric. Equine facilities have special electrical needs. The knowledgeable and licensed team of electricians at Pat Myers Electric will ensure that you can achieve your vision for a beautiful, safe, and functional horse facility. From new construction to rewiring and updating, the Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. With a small farm of our own, we truly understand the unique concerns of the horse owner. Don't take chances. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at seminolefeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hey, this is Buck Brannaman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Bart.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And we have a very special interview that's part of a series. I don't remember what episode we're on, but I'm going to tell you that 5. Okay, thank you, Isaac. We're on episode 5 with Linda Parelli, and, you know, we love Linda Parelli.
Yes.
Pete actually may love Linda Parelli more than me, as indicated in the interview that's coming up. But I did want to mention before we go to that interview that at the Equine Industry Expo, that is coming up in November. That is November 22nd, and the Hobby Horse Games and Parade on November 23rd at the Florida Horse Park also. Linda Parelli is going to be our special guest. She's going to be doing a demo and a talk, and you can get an autograph and chat to her. And she is really an icon in the horse world. In fact, she's such an icon that she brings tears to Dancing Pete Rhoda's eyes. And I love to see him mushy over somebody like this. So anyway, we are going to take it over now to Linda Parelli. Happy Horse, Happy Life. Louisa Barton here for the Horse Talk Show and the Equus Television Network. And we are at Happy Horse Haven, which seems very appropriate and a perfect spot to talk to none other than Linda Parelli. Dancing Pete Rhoda is here with us also, and we're just going to have a candid little chat. Bringing I see it all the time, especially in my full-time day job. I see people making friends that would have never been friends. I see people from different disciplines in the horse world hanging out together, riding together, enjoying each other's company, finding help, getting educated, being around horses where they never got to be around horses before. And I see this all the time, and I think it's connections and relationships makes the world a better place to be.
I agree. And even going back to what you were saying, that what you learned from me over all those years you've taken on in your direction, we're changing the world. This is not about, this is my little thing and your little thing. It's like, here's something that we can all benefit from to help all horses and the people who love them. That's my thing. That's my mission, is to change the world. It's not just to have a successful business.
And how much what you said to me, I still use with the horses and teach people, like Linda taught me that.
That's nice.
So what you say about Ray Hunt, same thing. And I told you.
I'm not as cranky.
You're not as cranky. Yeah, you're not as cranky. But I told you last time I saw you a couple of weeks ago, I came up to you and I said, I want to thank you for
that.
Because I'm where I am and being able to do what I can do because you were part of it. So.
Don't, you're going to both make me cry.
It's going to get
Stop it. Yeah, don't get mushy on me.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, we all owe something to someone. We didn't get here by ourselves, so wonderful. This is true.
Any last words for our viewers and listeners? That wisdom of Linda Parelli.
Well, we know they're all horse lovers that watch this program, so there's nothing I can say about horses. But I think I want to go back to that thing about learning. Is that how can you become the person that your horse would love you to be, needs you to be, And most of us don't know what that is. And it's not just how do you apply the aids, it's how do you really connect with this horse so that your lives together are made even more special than when you're apart.
Having that harmony, having that connection.
Yeah, that's the dream. Nobody dreams about getting kicked or bucked off or, having trouble with a farrier and not being able to load the horse into a trailer. Everyone dreams of it's all nirvana and I'm riding on a beach, bareback and bridleless with my hair blowing in the wind.
Didn't it come easy for you?
Oh, yeah.
they didn't see the 30 years.
No, I was galloping on a horse, hauling back on the reins, yelling, whoa, out of control. And then learning how to change all of that, is what I'm so passionate about. And that's why I want to share it, in every way that I can. So I have lots of books. I have an online community. I have my curriculum, which is soon to be released as a standalone product as well. So, and Viva Verve.
I was about to say, don't forget Viva Verve.
And occasionally I sleep. But, I'm just passionate about sharing as much as I can because, life's short. And how do you get as much information that's worth knowing into people's hands and brains, and so they can pass it on and use it with their own horses.
Amazing. Yeah. Louisa Barton and Dancing Pete Rhoda here with the legend, Linda Parelli. We're absolutely thrilled to have had this time with her. You can always learn more. Happy Horse, Happy Life here at Happy Horse Haven, and also Viva Verve to help yourself, whether you've gone through some transitions and changes or you're just maybe in your 50s and 60s and want to change your life. Or more. Linda can definitely help you with all of that, as well as with your horse. You can always learn more. And we are absolutely thrilled to have had this chance to chat with her here. Louisa Barton for the Horse Talk Show and the Equus Television Network.
See you next week.
Mushy Pete.
Mushy Pete.
Pete got mushy over Linda Parelli.
Yes, that was a mentor. I was there for 3 years on campus. spent a lot of time with Pat and Linda. So yes, Linda taught me a lot of things I still use today.
What are they?
What are they? Thresholds, paying more attention to the horse and thinking about how the horse is feeling, and then with the human, understanding the person more. So horse training isn't just teach the horse. Horse training truly is teaching the human and the horse to come together. And that to me is the beauty of it. So Linda helped me and a lot of people on campus to understand how those things work together.
What would you say are the top 3 or 4 things about Linda that you were so impressed with? Because I'm just always, whenever I'm going to give you time. You've got a minute. Whenever I'm around her, and it doesn't matter where it is, whether it's an event she's holding or going to a place like that, to her farm, I'm always just like, I don't know, I'm just at ease right away. Like I was with Buck Brannaman. I'm just, you know what I mean?
Yes, ma'am.
So is that one of the things you liked
definitely.
about her
And she's always prepared. Like you can try to throw her on the spot and it's like she has 6 answers already ready to go.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't know, by the way, when we do interviews, we don't send questions ahead of time. We don't tell people what we're going to ask them.
And we notice the people that get nervous about that too.
And they do very well with it, actually, because it is very comfortable. But Linda had no idea of any of the things we were going to ask her that day. And every single time we asked her a question, she had the most natural answer right away without having to say, oh, let me think about that for a minute.
And I've only seen her uncomfortable probably one time. But it was only for a split second, and then she pulled it back together and everything was... So yeah, she's definitely got it together when it comes to spur of the moments or problems happening. She always looks at the problem and figures out why is it happening and looks at both sides, not just picks one side and, says this is wrong or things like that. So yeah, she's pretty amazing at some of those things.
Yeah, she has a piece about her that to me just is, if I was a horse and I wasn't calm, if I got around her, I would feel calm. I always feel like she just...
Well, and that's what we were taught, is you got to have, if you don't have yourself together, how do you expect to help the horse that it doesn't have it together? So they're not looking for somebody that doesn't have it together. They're going towards their leaders that have it together.
And they want that to feel safe. And she always makes me feel safe.
And welcome.
Yeah.
She's always like, oh, you guys going to stay and we'll have something to eat and drink. And, she's always putting on the Ritz.
Yes, she is indeed.
And she makes everybody feel they're special.
Indeed. Linda Parelli, happy horse, happy life. I love that. And that, to me, fits her, Linda Parelli, just perfectly. So you can come and see her November 22nd and 23rd at the Florida Horse Park if you'd like. Get her autograph and give her a high five. We're coming right back. We are going to have Megan from MV Equestrian talking about starting your horse over show jumps. Stay with us. Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala, where the entire team is committed to making your experience in sales and service hassle-free and easier than ever with no games or gimmicks. Come in and visit on Southwest College Road or online at palmchevrolet.com. A second-to-none experience with all the amenities. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
LipChip is a company built by equestrians to make life at the barn a little easier. Equestrians, the future is here, and the future is LipChip.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. DAC, it makes a world of difference. The Equine Performance and Innovative Center, situated on 30 pristine acres in the horse capital of the world, is one of the finest and most complete conditioning and rehab centers for equines and canines in the nation, including an equine hyperbaric chamber, aqua pacer, water treadmill, cold water leg spa, equine swimming pool, Eurosizer, and more. Epic equine veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning. For more information, go to epcrehab.com or find them on social media.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. Get noticed with eye-catching vehicle wraps that showcase your brand's identity and earn you more business. If you're looking for a custom-designed vinyl wrap for horse trailers, box trucks, cars, or pickup trucks, for a single fleet vehicle, or for 100, no job is too big for the Smash Wraps team. Make your appointment to set your business apart today. Find us on social media or at smashwraps.com. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
This show is brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever heard of a horse that could talk? Listen to this. With your host, Louisa Barton. She's literally in love with every horse. Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. She's back in the saddle again. And now here's your host,
Pretty.
Louisa Barton. She's a Brit, she's got the gift of the gab, and her guests are fab.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And we are going to take it now to Megan with MV Equestrian, and she's going to chat to us about starting over jumps.
This is Show Jumping 101 with Megan Vainosky with MV Equestrian Ocala.
Louisa Barton for the CEP's Equine Initiative and the Horse Talk Show here with Megan Vainosky. She is with MV Equestrian Ocala. We're at Royal Blessing here at the Rescue and Boarding Facility, and we are going to chat a little bit about how you start a horse over jumps who's never done anything like that before. Now, we're going to assume at this point you've done all the foundation training. So you've kind of done everything on the ground, you've got a good relationship with the horse, you've worked your way into that comfort zone. If the horse is already riding English, you've already done flat work. If the horse has never ridden English before, like my Mustang, for example, who you're starting to ride English, you're going to, of course, get all of that, first of all, where the horse is comfortable bending, flexing, carrying himself, he's comfortable with the tack, he's comfortable with you riding him. Obviously, you're rising to the trot or you're sitting to the trot, you've got him doing everything, and you've gone through all of those phases, and you've reached that point where you're thinking about some ground poles and maybe some cavaletti. So let's kind of start from the horse is ready for that stage.
Yes. Okay, so I'm a huge person. I love to do everything for the first time on the ground. Obviously, poles and like the smaller side of cavalettis, I'll, kind of brave it and we'll do it together. But when it gets to some of the bigger things, like the taller cavalettis, in my experience, the bigger ones, getting them to really lift their legs and really engage their core is when they kind of get a little like, And granted, I'm 120 pounds sometimes, I'm not that, I don't weigh that much, but I still try to let them figure it out on their own so they can build that confidence on themselves. So I get them to do that a few times. I love to free jump them. I love to kind of put them in our little small ring that we have here and just do little tiny jumps, get them to canter it, trot it, just to get them comfortable at finding the distances, figuring out how to get their bodies over it. And I do that a few times just to kind of get them comfortable. And then I take it back and we do pole work, cavalettis. I love cavaletti work. Like my one show mare could do cavaletti work in her sleep. I love that it engages the core. I love that it engages the top line. It really engages their hind end and pushes them forward, which is really what you need in show jumping. You need them to really rock on their hind end, especially when you get into the bigger jumps, because a horse jumps up straight and down. They don't jump like through the jump. They got to jump up and over. They need to be able to sit back and really push off with that hind end, and those cavalettes being able to lift really helps that core and really helps that their gluteal muscles really, really well. So I want to make sure that I get them nice and muscled up and ready, so they're not too sore, they're not too ouchy. I don't like injuries. I try to prevent those as much as possible. So, and I want to make sure that they're nice, built, and strong. And I start with just a series of pulls. Then I'll take, so if we have a series of 3, I'll take the one in the middle, and then I'll put a cavalette there. And then we'll kind of work our way up to the small side, to the medium side, to the tall side. And then once we're doing that really comfortably, I'll start introducing little cross rails and little 18-inch verticals, little 2-foot verticals, just to really get them picking their feet up. And either one thing will happen, it takes them a second to really figure out how to pick up their feet, or they take to it really fast and they pick those feet up, and in 6 to 8 months we're jumping 2.6, 2.9 courses. But I listen to the horse. I'm never going to, I get so much crap for this, is because I take things slower rather than quick. I tell everybody that comes to me for advice or wants to be a part of my program, if you have a timeline for your horse, like if you want to show 1.30 m and your horse is like barely green broke and you want that done in 3 months, I'm not the one for you. There's plenty of other people that say that they can do that. That's fine, go to them. I'm not going to do that. I take everything very slow. Not saying that I couldn't take that horse in and he couldn't make that happen, but
you've got to check the individual horse, how his pace is, because you've got to stay with what he's comfortable, and not every horse. There are some horses that are fast learners, and he might whip right through the program, but if he doesn't, then you need to be able to do your thing the right way, in the right order.
Yes.
And being pressured, as we well know in any sport, once your pressure is on to get to something, we know as humans that's where we fall down and do things that we wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
Maybe we're pressured by a client, maybe we're financially pressured, maybe we're just really frustrated and stressed out with a horse that's not doing right. And because we have this definite timeline from a paying client, we then jump. And we've recently had something happen in the high up in the Olympic world like that, where we don't know what that situation, what caused that behavior. But we do know there was pressure. There has to have been, because there's pressure when it doesn't make it right or wrong. It just happens, and it happens when people want to go to the top, or people are at the top and there's an expectation for certain things. People push horses to do things they aren't ready for, and that's when we see hurt horses, we see anxious horses, we see frustrated horses, we see horses misbehaving, and we see unhappy people, because the horse then lost that safe trust bond with you because you did something to rush it rather than do it at its. And horses are just like people. Everybody's different. Some people are very spontaneous and do things on the spot. Other people are very regimented and have to do things in a certain order. And you have to learn with each horse, just you do like with every person, to cater to that particular need, or you're going to break the bond and the trust, and then you're never going to have a good horse. And I go back to Buck Brannaman. If the horse doesn't feel safe with you, he's never going to do anything for you. That being safe is that love language that the horse needs.
Yeah, and I mean, just to use an example, I just got a horse in. I've had him for maybe 8 to 9 days at this point. FEI, Grand Prix horse, his USEF record is longer than me, is like 24 pages long. You can barely touch him because he's petrified of people.
How sad.
And in the little bit of time that I've had with him, I haven't even attempted to get on him. I did get back x-rays on him. I was able to get those done, and he's got a beautiful back, so I can rule that out. But further investigation, he's had no maintenance done in the last 8 years. He's 17, and he's been jumping 1.30 m plus his whole life. And then the last few years of his life, he's been jumping 1.10 m plus,
And so you're doing a start over.
So I'm completely starting over. We're doing body work and groundwork is what we're doing. And I'm able to now I couldn't take his halter off before.
Wow.
Any over the head movement, like a rope halter, fly mask, he would fly backwards. And now I'm able to go out there into an open field put his fly mask on, put his halter on, off and on, multiple times. And he drops his head for me now.
So go slow, learn the horse, learn that each horse is different, and go through the proper stages to get the horse where you want the horse to be. And that way you'll have the best horse you could possibly have. So this is getting them started over some poles and some cavaletti and going at the pace the horse can handle. Most important. Megan Vainosky, MV Equestrian LLC. You're learning all about show jumping. This is Show Jumping 101. I'm Louisa Barton with the Horse Talk Show. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the show, Palm Chevrolet, and to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay. Also, thank you to the supporting sponsors, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifence of Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equigreen, JNS Pressure Washing, Horse Vans, and Midnight Rose Equestrian. The team of professionals at Equifence of Florida specialize in equestrian fencing. Equifence of Florida, quality fencing done right to keep your animals safe.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed.
Oh, piranha.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equigreen with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equigreen came to life. Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Does your farm need a facelift? Has the harsh Florida climate left your barns, stable doors, and fences stained? JNS Pressure Washing has a professional team who can exceed your expectations and restore your farm to its former glory. Get rid of dust and cobwebs that can cause allergies and health issues for horses, and keep your horses safe by limiting fire hazards in the barn. JNS Pressure Washing can clean your house, your barns, your fences, and your driveway, and you can count on dependable and professional services. For more information, call Stephen at 352-502-5355.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
This is Charlotte Cannon, and you are listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Bart.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And for this segment, I'm going to pretend I'm a grass expert.
Pretend?
Well, I think after a lot of blood, sweat and tears, I think I almost am a grass expert. The first thing I want to say is this may not apply to everybody. If you happen to live in the northwest side of town, in Ocala, and you have nice brown loam soil, you might not have any problem just throwing some Bahia seed out there and it might just magically grow. However, if you live closer to the coast, if you live in perhaps Levy County out in the Cedar Key direction, or if you live in Fort McCoy like me out where it's sandier, and depending on the history of your property, which is absolutely important for you to know, by the way, you might not be having any success growing grass. And I'm going to tell you I did everything in the wrong order, first of all. I did absolutely everything in the wrong order. Try and find out the history of your property, first of all. For example, 200 pigs lived on my property at one time and rooted up every single root of grass that was out there, followed by some people who used it as a four-wheeler track and tore the rest of it up. And what I found out from my neighbour just recently is there were about 20 more trees on my property than there are right now, huge oak trees, and the ground is different around trees. So if you find out the history of your property from either your realtor or from maybe a neighbour, like I'm fortunate enough to have a neighbour that's lived there 50 years, so he knows everything that's happened to the property. If you have a friendly neighbour and you can find out the history of your property, because it's going to really, really help you with the process of doing this. So get the history, find out that, and then you do need to inquire from an expert on potentially what sort of weeds you have out there. So what you need to do is either call your extension service, or good old iPhone plant lookup is very helpful. And that will actually let you know if you have anything that's poisonous out in your field. That's very, very important, because although horses won't usually eat poisonous, especially if they have wonderful Larson hay or good grass, but if they're out on a very deserty piece of ground, as mine was initially, they might possibly eat a poisonous weed. So you do need to know what's out there on the property and get rid of it. You might feel a little bit tempted to actually maintain some of it, because a lot of it is very nice green ground cover, and some of it isn't poisonous. But I'm going to tell you, I made a really big mistake. I didn't get rid of my weeds to begin with, because
so they came up again.
They came up, and I've got news for you. The roots on some of these ground covers that aren't poisonous to horses, the roots are so huge, they spread, and they actually stop your grass from growing, and they actually prevent your grass seeds from putting in a good root. So if you're very, very serious about growing grass, Graze On is your best friend. Graze On, or I've been told Remedy, but I used Graze On. Graze On will kill all weeds but not grass, and it's called Graze On because your animals can go right back on and graze afterwards, because it's not toxic to them. I think it's about 24 hours after you've sprayed it. Your animals can actually be back on the property, but it does kill everything. If you're really serious, I'm going to say this one more time, if you're really serious about growing grass, even if you like that nice ground cover, get rid of it, because it's bad news. I'm going to tell you something else about that I learned. It's very important. Don't just soil test in 1 or 2 spots. Because if, like me, you had trees everywhere, the areas where the trees are, the soil's not the same as perhaps 5 feet or 10 feet away. So if you're going to do soil tests, which are not a bad idea, you need to do multiple soil tests. Perhaps, depending on how many acres you have, you might need to do 5 or 6 soil tests in one paddock.
So this is called experience.
Oh, this is called like learn because you didn't do it right? So multiple soil tests, when you get the results, that's going to actually tell you what sort of fertilizer you need. So first of all, you're going to kill the weeds or pull them. If you don't mind pulling weeds, that's fine. Or you can spray them with something safe that doesn't kill grass, because it'll kill the grass that you do have if you're not careful. And you're going to soil test so you know what sort of fertilizer, and then you're going to fertilize your ground. That's very important. You want to fertilize it with a suitable fertilizer for that soil test that you got back. And actually, if you take that soil test to most places that sell fertilizer, they can tell you exactly which fertilizer you should be using. Now, I'm going to tell you something else I learned. After lots and lots of seeding, lots of bahia, bags and bags and bags of it, I found out that sod is actually not as expensive as I thought. And you can actually buy sod, probably locally, not too far from you. I am not going to recommend putting it down by yourself, or even with a very good friend, because I'm going to tell you that
You're not going to be good friends.
No, you may not have a friend anymore. Hopefully Billy still likes me. After 10 pallets of sod, I couldn't walk for days. So I'm going to tell you that hire help for this job, because it's absolutely no fun at all. But sod can be almost as cost effective as seed, depending on what kind of area.
So you picked these up by yourself and put them in the truck and carried them to the spots?
No, they delivered them, thankfully.
No, but to move them around your farm.
Yes. Oh, yeah. They delivered them, and then once they delivered them, I moved them by hand.
Oh, my goodness.
And Billy helped me. It was 2 of us, but it was hard work.
I bet he asked you next time you go, hey, can you come over and help me? He's going to be like, what are we doing?
Well, I will tell you, the nice thing about sod is this. The downside of sod is for the first 10 days to 2 weeks, you have to water it at least every day. So you have to do that. And if you don't have rain, it's a big job watering a lot of sod. But I'm going to tell you, if you're not patient and you don't want to wait to see if that bahia takes seedlings or sod, either one, there's a lot less of a waiting period. And that really helps speed things along if you want to hurry up and get your horses back on it. So the biggest lesson of all I learned, and this was the big one, is that if you have a very, very barren, very dry desert piece of property like I had, that actually I'm told by my neighbours hasn't had a blade of grass on it for 50 years, if your property looks like this, like a desert, you can put an awful lot of seed and an awful lot of fertilizer, and you can even put sod down. But if you don't come in there with some good topsoil, you probably are not going to have grass, and your sod might not even survive. If you're watching this, you can actually see two sides of the field. You can see the side of the field I've already put topsoil down, and you can see a side of the field that I have not put topsoil down. And there is an absolutely huge difference. You actually can see, if you look up close at the topsoil, you can actually see where the little seeds are now popping up in all of the areas that I put topsoil down. There is another, and you're going to laugh at my English pronunciation of this word, I'm sure, because I made Isaac chuckle before the show. You can also buy compost.
Compost?
Compost! You can buy compost. This is this lighter brown. If you're watching us, you can see this lighter brown material is actually compost, not topsoil. I tried both because the person I was actually getting this from had a better price on the compost. And actually the compost did very well as well. Shout out to the dirt pile, by the way, where I am going to get the rest of my topsoil this week. I actually went by there to see them. They showed me their Ocala soil that's a little bit sandier, but still very good quality. And then that's their topsoil. And I actually went and picked up a load of that. And I'm going to have another 10 yards delivered this week. That stuff is like a miracle right there. That is, I shoveled that all out of the back of my truck, by the way, which was also a lot of fun.
Did you invite a friend over?
No, I did that on my own. But I'm just going to tell you that if you really want to see a turnaround in a piece of property, and it's sandy, if you do not have that beautiful loam soil, this is what you need to do. You need to get topsoil or compost on your seeds.
Compost.
And stop laughing at me. It's a worthwhile investment. So if you have a sandy place, super important, water, water, water. Topsoil or compost and water are your best friends, and you will have grass. I know, I found out the hard way. Coming right back with the last segment of the show. Stay with us. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of this portion of the show, Palm Chevrolet, and to our TV broadcast sponsor, Larson Hay. Also, thank you to the supporting sponsors, the Equine Performance and Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifence of Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, Nirvana Medical Spa, Equigreen, JNS Pressure Washing, Horse Vans, and Midnight Rose Equestrian. Ocala Dog Ranch offers a variety of services for your dog, including agility training, barn hunt training, board and train, boarding long and short term, daycare, day training, dock diving training and competitions, disc dog, swimming lessons and pool rentals, lure coursing and obedience training classes. Check out Ocala Dog Ranch at ocaladogranch.com. Ocala Dog Ranch is your home away from home for your dog and more.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, also online at ttdistributors.com.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
Epic Equine Veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning.
This hour of the Horse Talk Show is presented by Palm Chevrolet in Ocala. Palm Chevy, find new roads.
Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
Nirvana, Ocala's premier medical spa, is leading the way in great skin with all the newest in treatment options. Become a better, brighter, and younger you.
The Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe. For all your current barn needs, go to patmyerselectric.com.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the final segment of the Horse Talk Show for this week, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancing Pete Rhoda.
And is he looking at himself on the television?
No, I'm not looking at myself. They got me in trouble today. They're like, quit looking at yourself in the screen, because we have a screen to the right when we're in this set. And I'm bad about looking because I want to see how I'm facing, what I'm looking like.
Just checking himself out.
I'm checking myself
out.
out.
What he tells you, he's just
I'm checking myself out. So they made me a bet that I have to pay $5 for every time I look over. So I'm focused right at the screen.
Making a lot of money. We're going to talk about weeds before we go to Pete's tip of the week. And we're going to talk about some. By the way, this is not all of them. There may be others that are not on here, but we're going to mention the main ones. So you're looking out for nightshade, azaleas, which I love but are not good for horses, sago palm, red maple, and then creeping indigo, which is that one that there's been a lot of publicity about. Creeping indigo. There's actually another weed that looks similar to it that's not toxic. So make sure you get these checked, because they can be very, very bad for your horses. Poison hemlock, water hemlock, red maple, ragwort, and you.
Not me.
Not you. We've got some more for you. Avocado, would you believe? I've never personally liked avocado. I haven't.
I love avocado.
Oh, it's gross. Yellow star thistle, Ruston knapweed, I hope I pronounced that right, oleander, bracken fern. Anyway, I'm English, so I always pronounce things right. As I mentioned earlier, the best thing to do is to have an extension agent come out and have a look at your property if you're moving to a new property.
Loco weed.
Loco weed, that's a good one. Castor beans.
Castor beans. Pokeweed.
Pokeweed, yeah, which
Milk.
actually is not, by the way, toxic to people. They can actually eat pokeweed, but it is to horses.
Milkweed.
And Johnson grass.
Pokeweed. I think I've had pokeweed salad before.
You probably have. Acorns and fireweed. And actually, we were talking to Joe from Joe's Tree Service, and we were talking about acorns and how a lot of people want to cut down oak trees on their property because they don't want their horses to eat the acorns. But he can actually come out and trim limbs back to the point where the acorns hopefully won't fall where the horses can eat them. But some horses really like eating acorns. It's the crunchy thing. I like the crunchy thing too, actually. I have to say, I like crunchy stuff in my cereal, so I get it. But you don't want your horses eating that. So, as I said, there are some others. I'm sure we're telling you the main ones that we know about, because we want you to avoid any concerns or issues about poisonous stuff in your pasture. Now we're switching it up to Dancing Pete Rhoda's Tip of the Week.
Dancing Pete's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Complementary Horsemanship. This tip is sponsored by WildlifeWorksLLC.com for your unwanted wild critters removal. No. Wildlife Works.
Yes, brought to you by Wildlife Works.
So the tip of the week is, I was teaching a student today at Liberty, and the horse wasn't stopping right with her. So instead of asking him to back up and get in position, I just said, okay, let's just do it again. So she walked forward, and then I said, now stop again. And he was a little bit better. And I said, okay, let's walk forward again until he found it. So sometimes it's better to start over and do it again until he finds the answer than just forcing the answer or asking him for the answer. Let him find it. It's going to be more powerful. So sometimes it's not about pushing them into something. It's about, okay, start over, let's do it again. Start over, let's do it again. And then what you always like is same thing in your life. When you make a mistake, start over, let's do it again. No big deal.
And end on a good note.
And end on a good note. So that horse finally found pretty close to the answer we were looking for. And I said, okay, long stop. Horse did great. We walked forward again, did some things, stopped, and the horse was right there. So letting them find it is important.
I love that, ending on a good note.
Yes, ma'am.
When you go away from anything you do with the horse, end well.
And I think we should do that with people also.
Agree. I like that. Now most of you who are horse owners also have a dog. So Horse Talk Show is going to the dogs. The Horse Talk Show goes to the dogs at Ocala Dog Ranch.
Neil Hennessy, Ocala Dog Ranch. crate training. People love it, people hate it. But let's face it, we live in a state where we might have to run because of a storm's coming, and you're not going to be able to just take your dog and go to a shelter or a hotel if you can't put your dog in a crate. Dogs need to feel comfortable in crates, and most dogs do. It's like a little cave for them. So learn how to put your dog in a crate, feed them in a crate. That way, when we do have an emergency and we do need to have them in a crate, it's not going to be a fight. Neil Hennessy, the Ocala Dog Ranch.
Neil has the best shirts, doesn't he? I'm just going to say about crate training, there are a lot of people who don't like putting a dog in a crate. And there was a time when I would have to agree. However, I don't anymore. I think that I've seen so many dogs who, even when their crate is open, they willingly actually go in it. I think dogs need more time out of a crate than in it, whenever possible, if it can be broken up. I also think that it's a safe place for a lot of dogs.
Yeah, you got to make it a safe place. And I always look at it as if you're somewhere where, hey, it's not appropriate for my dog to be out, I want to be able to put my dog in a crate where they go, oh, I get to go and relax, and I know I'm going to get back out and go play and do some fun things and then come back
to my safe place.
To my safe place and take a nap. And today is more of a time in the crate, just like the other day I took a day off and I basically stayed in bed the whole time just to stay in my crate.
That's right, stay in a crate. But what's nice is if you put something in there that the dog is familiar with, something comfortable to lie on, perhaps a toy or a chewy, something very safe, obviously, that they can't hurt themselves with. But it's nice if they have something to distract them a little bit. But let it be a reward, not a punishment. Let it be a place they want to go. And then when there's thunderstorms and fireworks and all those, and if you have a young dog that chews things it shouldn't chew, it actually could hurt itself when you're not home or damage something of yours. So I love crates. And I think that if you can get your dog prepared for that very young, I do something with Mr. Marbles. Every time I put him in, he loves organic, home-cooked chicken. So I give him a little piece of organic home-cooked
How did he ever
chicken.
find that? Did he go down the grocery store and go, I'd like the organic chicken, please?
He does. And so I put a piece in, and he runs in the crate, by the way. He runs in the crate. So, yeah. Very good tip, Neil from Ocala Dog Ranch. We love you. You're awesome. A few quick mentions before we do our last mention of this show. And that is that... What is this? Oh, thank you. I needed a little help. Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital in Complete Care is having a very special using the nervous system to improve performance outcomes on September 28th at Peterson Smith Equine Hospital. And you can check out on their website for more information. And they've got some good sponsors there who are involved in that event too. It's a one-day seminar.
Is this for anybody?
Yes.
Fair.
Nirvana Medical Spa has got some fantastic September specials. I love all these fall colours that are coming out already. Make sure you check out Nirvana Medical Spa on Facebook and you'll see all these wonderful good things you can do to pamper yourself. Pat Myers Electric, the best electrician in the whole entire world, is hiring. They're looking for an experienced lead electrician. I can tell you that working on this team is a good thing.
Oh, Pat is just amazing. I mean, all his team is part of not only what they do, but also the profits,
Hey,
which I think is
We've
cool.
got one more thing to mention.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay. Tomorrow is a day that we should never forget. And if you're watching on Saturday morning, it will already have gone past. But this week is very special. And that is that we want to honour those who lost their lives 9/11. And we are thinking of everybody connected to anybody that was lost in that terrible occurrence. And it's hard to believe how many years have gone by. But our prayers and thoughts are with all connected. We have to wrap it up for this week. Whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world or not.
Or not.
Happy horsing around.
See you next
Same
week.
time next week.